One sleep till the draft, and the Texans news cycle is intensifying, courtesy of one of the people you can trust the most. Let's get into that. There's a hell of a lot to get into. Such little time, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time. Can't stop. Won't stop. Yeah. We top two.
It is one sleep until the NFL draft. The moment we've been waiting for. One sleep till draft day. And the Texans are in the news, very much so. Credible news, too. I know Nick Caserio likes to say it's silly season, it's lying season, it's a bunch of garbage, blah, 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 blah. Nobody has established themselves lately as one of the voices of the Texans and one of the people who presents the news the most, more than Diana Rossini. Diana Rossini she's all over it. She established herself sometime last year, sometime within the last year and a half, as when she reports Texans news, more times than not, she's the first one, and more times than not, she's the one that forecasts it. I don't know how she does it, but she does it. And when she says something, it at least needs to be entertained, and we need to dissect the smoke screens. It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. We are one sleep away. I hope you'll join myself and Cody Stutes, S&L. Still live at 4 tomorrow. We're going to be super streaming throughout the draft. Starting at 6:30, we'll go all the way from beginning to end of day one, a.k.a. round one. Then we'll go right here into the Locker Room. So probably about 7-8 hours of streaming tomorrow, which wouldn't have it any other way. Next day, about 5:30, same routine. Beginning to end of rounds 2 and 3, a.k.a. day 2, and then right here into the Locker Room. And then on Saturday, we're going to celebrate. We're going to consume the draft, and we are going to react at Karbach. We want you there. Karbach Biergarten, 11 a.m. We're going to have a lot of stuff to give away. We're going to drink some beers. We're going to eat some pizza. And we're going to celebrate the unity of the two best sports in the world, college football and pro football. And one of the best times of the world, which is almost here. Shout out to Nashville. Sean says he's out there in Nashville. Shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to David. Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to Not John. BG, good to see you. Trey of Texas, I'm definitely watching the Rockets. I have the over in this game, so I'm in. Cademan Smith, hello. Eric, it's 27. Rockets, yes. Let's go. I am here. Matt Marr, my favorite prison guard. Maybe my son. Yeah, he's better prison guard than my uncle was. So I'll let Matt Marr, my favorite prison guard, our guy out there in St. Louis. So we got St. Louis, we got Tennessee. We're rolling deep. One sleep before. Swarm in the super chat is Matt Marr.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm
Says, I heard Draymond Green lost 15% or more switching to Geico for his car insurance. Oh, Matt, you crazy. You crazy. So let's get into what Diana Rossini is saying. Stutes tweeted this out. And Stutes has kind of been on top of this. There's another report that we'll talk about. I don't put as much stock in it, but we'll talk about it. So Diana Rossini from The Athletic talking about the Houston Texans. He says the Texans have been actively making calls about a potential move up. So don't be surprised if Houston makes a jump on Thursday night. Nick Caserio's 13 trade-ups are the most among active GMs, close quote. All right, well, here's the thing. And again, when Diana says something, we listen. She's established herself as the person who breaks the most Texans news. So when she says something, we listen. Here's the one thing I will be kind of, I do want to kind of push back on that stat, because I think all stats, there's kind of a gray area. Nick Caserio has been the general manager of the Houston Texans this is going to be his first draft was in 2021, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Notice how I count with my fingers still. So this is going to be his fifth draft. This is going to be his third draft with D'Amico Ryans. Did I do that right? 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There we go. Yes, that is correct. So This is going to be his 5th draft. He's had extra ammunition to work with as a result of the Deshaun Watson trade. So you're probably willing to be a little bit more aggressive when you have extra chips in your pocket. You ever gone to a casino and, your buddy slips you a couple of chips, or maybe you get some house money, maybe you get a comp, you're a little bit more aggressive. So I'm not questioning that Nick Caserio may or may not be aggressive, but I will say, judging him based on his actions as a general manager, I think that has as much to do with having extra ammunition as anything. But he is definitely aggressive. We know that Nick Caserio has the coconuts on draft day. He likes to display the coconuts on draft day. So that is valid. Now, the question is now, and Matt's back on the soup again. He's just clowning Draymond.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Draymond Green eats his corn on the cob the long way. Is that bad? A long way. Oh, like upside. I don't know. Matt, you always make me think, my friend. You always make me think. And I am aware that the Titans signed Tyler Lockett. I wonder if that takes them out of the wide receiver in the 2nd round or the 3rd round. But yeah, Tyler Lockett, if you were hoping that he would be a Texan, or if you have a lot of respect for him, he will be in the division, but he will be playing for the old Oilers. So that's the Tyler Lockett thing there. Someone says the over is not hitting on this Warriors game. It's 204. It's not high. It dropped significantly. It's down to 204. So it's not completely dead. It doesn't look great, but it's not completely dead. I don't need your negativity there, Plain jackass. But yeah, Tyler Lockett no longer with us. So here's the question, though, or no longer in the mix. Here's the question, though, that I have when it comes to Caserio. Why would Nick Caserio want to make a deal? What would be the reason for Nick Caserio to make a deal? There's 2 reasons why in this situation Nick Caserio would be willing to make a deal or wanting to make a deal. Reason number 1 would be he really likes a specific player. So who would that player be? Could it be Kelvin Banks? Could it be Gray Zabel? Maybe he wants to make sure and assure himself that he gets Booker. Maybe he likes one of the receivers. Hell, maybe they want to trade up for Nolan. But he really likes a specific player or players. That's reason number 1 to trade up. Reason number 2 is the cluster that's in front of the Texans, which we talk about from 20 to 24, and you just don't want to deal with it. Like walking into the draft, like having Minnesota in front of you is a dangerous thing. Everybody knows they want to trade. Everybody has an idea of what you want. So if they want what you want, they know exactly where they need to go, and they know Minnesota is going to be looking to get picks. So you kind of want to get out of this Denver, Pittsburgh, Chargers, Green Bay, and Minnesota cluster with where you're at. You want to get the hell out of there. 20, Denver, man, seems like they like a lot of what you like. 21, Pittsburgh, 22, Chargers, Green Bay, lineman, receiver, and then Minnesota. You want to get out of that. So maybe they want to get out of that cluster. So that's reason number 2. This was thrown out today, and it's interesting because I actually got a text about Dallas from a guy that I trust a lot out there. And he asked me, he said, hey, would you think the Texans would trade with the Cowboys? And I thought it was interesting because this is the guy who has given me a hell of a lot of information and one of the guys that I trust most out there. And he asked me, you think the Texans would trade with the Cowboys? I said, I'm not sure. Why are you asking? It's weird. You're not one to really like usually ask questions like this, but I mean, why? And he said, Dallas is looking for picks. He also said that he thinks they probably like McMillan. So I don't know that the Cowboys are shying away from McMillan as much as teams like the Texans. And Jay Glazer actually put out an interesting thing. We'll get back to the Dallas trade in a sec, but I thought this was interesting from Jay Glazer, where this new element of liking football might matter a little bit more. And this is from Glazer on Twitter. Nothing motivational, just straight business. I know he's been known to get pretty mushy on there. But Jay said, interesting thing came up in my draft prep calls. For years, teams have pulled players off the board for A, injury concerns, B, character concerns. A third category / reason has been added, and most teams I talked to had guys off their board for, quote, doesn't love football. This was the first year it was prevalent. I asked around why that is, and the thought was because of NIL money. Guys have already been paid, and some feel they don't need to grind to get paid. So the guys who love football are probably appreciate it more. Just an interesting tidbit to pass along. And D'Amico Ryan said in his own words, like, you know, we know that these guys aren't finished products, but the most important thing that we are trying to figure out when we talk to these prospects is whether or not they love football. So when we've talked about the McMillans and we've talked about the other guys in Houston, loving football has always been a thing, but it seems like it's kind of a league-wide thing. So that's interesting from Glazer that he heard that. And from a local perspective, localized, I think we witnessed that from D'Amico Ryans all the time. And he said it himself the other day during media availability when I asked him about developing the swarm, and then Jason Bristol asked him the follow-up. But let's get back to this Dallas thing. Because if the Texans trade up at 12, that means they love somebody, right? That means they either love somebody or they are drafting for need. And I know that they insist that they don't draft for need, but if you are trading up to 12 for no one specific and you're just trying to get a certain person at a position, whether it's one of the tackles or something, then you think that you need offensive line really, really bad. Or you just really love a receiver. But I would think that like 12 would be like kind of Banks territory, depending on where he goes. I think there could be a rude awakening, though, when it comes to Banks. But I thought it was interesting that I got that text message. And most of you that follow me, you know that I usually know who Dallas is picking 3 picks earlier. I've been 100% on who the Cowboys are going to pick. Last year, I said who they were going to pick if he was there, and he went off the board 3 picks early. So they didn't end up getting that guy, but that was who they wanted. So I have decent connect there, and they asked me about a trade. And this wasn't a rumor. And then maybe it's something that's getting talked about out there, but this made its way to Twitter. This is just from Blogging the Boys. But it says, per Albert Breer, the Houston Texans are sniffing around on a potential trade, maybe for offensive line. Let's say they call the Cowboys at 12. This is a hypothetical trade. Let's play this. Would you do this or not? Yay or nay? Put yay if you would, chat. Put nay if you would not. That's easy enough. Would you trade the Texans? So 25 overall, your second this year, one of your thirds, one of your 2/3. So you would only have one day 2 pick and a 5th. Now, here would be my pushback here. You have extra day 2 picks next year. So I would say if this is going to be the price, a second, third, maybe let them trade a pick for next year. But if Kelvin Banks is that dude, and Kelvin Banks and trust issues with the Texans are pretty significant when it comes to the offensive line. But if Kelvin Banks is that dude, then yeah, it's probably worth that price. You're essentially trading Laramie Tunsil for your tackle of the future, and you have a guy that you can trust there. Ideally, you'd like to keep at least 2 day 2 picks, but that would perhaps be the price. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that I think they're going to trade with Dallas. I'm just saying the guy that I trust, that's very well connected, that I talk to all the time, that I basically know who they're picking before they pick, texted me and asked about, are you hearing anything about the Texans perhaps trading with the Cowboys? Do with that what you will. Might not be worth much, but you factor that in with it's not pulled out of nowhere. You factor that in with the fact that the person that we've established gets the most news and breaks the most news about this team, Diana Rossini, she's saying they want to trade up. Breer saying they want to trade up. Do with that what you will. And maybe they're just kind of snooping around because they know the Texans want to trade up and the Cowboys want picks. Who the F knows? But that's just what I got. On the soup, AJ.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
RGV Texans draft party at Landmark in Alamo. Okay. RGV Texans draft party at Landmark in Alamo. No idea what that is. Only draft party I know about, my friend, is the stream right here, day 1 and day 2. And Karbach Biergarten, pizza pints, S&L, and hopefully over 5 people. Last year, 40 people showed up, 45, 50. Hoping a little bit more this year, and it's at a Houston staple. It's not at some bar that's hanging on by a thread. No disrespect to that place. They were nice to us, but they're no longer there. You kind of see that coming, if we're being completely honest. So who knows what happens, but these are the 5 guys that the Texans are connected to. It looks like the Rockets are going to hold off. If they choke away here, then they should not get on the plane to Golden State. Now, the over would be nice, though. So we'll see if that's going to hit. You might see me lose money while I'm streaming. Wouldn't be the first time. There you go, Dylan Brooks. He's on the payroll. Thank you very much, my man. So the top 5 most mentioned names with the Texans. Top 5 guys that have been mentioned the most with the Texans throughout this whole process. And this is going to be on the S&L draft super stream tomorrow. So we have Kelvin Banks out of Texas. I think it's weird. I just don't see how he falls to 25. But his name's been mentioned, and Jeremiah said they don't pass on Kelvin Banks. They damn sure should. Tyler Booker, the guard out of Alabama. You heard Will Anderson say some good things about him. He is basically the offensive version of Will Anderson when it comes to makeup, and the makeup of Will Anderson is basically the foundation of what DeMeco Ryans practices or preaches and practices at times. So you have that. Then Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. I don't know how much they like him, and I don't know how much of a difference maker he is or if he's even going to be there, but Emeka Egbuka is the other one. And then you have Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. Seems like he's gotten a lot of steam lately. And Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State, who it seems like everybody is just gassing up like crazy leading up to the draft. Gray Zabel getting a lot of mentions. So those are the top 5 guys. Which of those do you think you would have to trade up for? I would say Banks. If you're trading up, I would say probably Banks. Couldn't be wrong. Like one of these teams in front of you could draft Tyler Booker before, but trading up for Booker seems a little bit crazy, but that's a name. Egbuka, maybe you have to trade up just because of the position if you like him a lot, but probably not, hopefully not too far. Simmons, you got to think he probably gets to you. And then Zabel. Zabel, I know the Lions tight end coach recruited him, so there's kind of like some connecting the dots, almost like Harbaugh with Colson Loveland. But the trade up just seems like it would be Banks, especially if you're trading up that far. But 15 with Atlanta is probably the place to really look for the trade. Man, this over might be close. Or not. They might just throw in the towel. And I don't think the Warriors bench guys can hoop. But the Rockets are going to win. So this is going 1-1. So they can get on the plane and go there and figure it out. What's Cody giving me the side eye for? Lou in the chat says Cody's giving the side eye. I don't know why he's giving the side eye. Zabel looks like a bust. Zabel's getting gassed up, man. Zabel is getting gassed up like crazy leading up to the draft. You'd think that he's the best offensive lineman of all time with the way he's getting talked about. He is getting talked up. And play 4 positions. Might be a team captain before long. Some teams might have to trade up for him. He's getting gassed up a lot. Hell of a lot. Jeremy Fowler. I don't put much stock in what Jeremy Fowler says. I feel like he just peacocks and gaslights his reports. Matter of fact, tomorrow we got a special reporter on the stream. Myself and Cody Stutes. Laramie Fowler is actually gonna be our reporter. He's gonna report live from the war rooms. So be on the lookout. Jeremy Fowler's brother Laramie. Same type of content, but he's gonna have reports during the stream. Be on the lookout for that. But I didn't even see what Stoots tweeted, but he's quoting Jeremy Fowler. How about that? How about Cody? Good Lord. He says ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported the Houston Texans are calling into the top half of the first round to potentially, of course, move up. He didn't name a target, but, quote, here it goes. One NFL executive predicts Houston is interested in Texas tackle Kelvin Banks as the target. The Texans have an extra selection in this year's third round, an extra 2026 second, and an extra 2026 fourth. They have ammunition for a trade up. Atlanta at 15. We've talked about this. He also stated the Texans have heard from Nick Caserio and couched the whole thing with it's possible the Texans are just doing. This is the most Jeremy Fowler thing ever. This is why Jeremy Fowler is like hilarious. It's like, well, the Texans are talking about trading up. Now, we don't know who they're going to trade up for. It might be this guy, or it could be that guy, or it could be this guy, or it could be the other guy. And it's also possible that they're just doing their due diligence. Look, Daniel Jeremiah said they like Kelvin Banks. Diana Rossini has said that they're trading up. Like, it's almost like Jeremy Fowler just takes these other reports and just like puts them out there. Laramie Fowler is going to be with us tomorrow. He'll give you the real scoop on what's going on in Tennessee, Jacksonville, and right here in Houston. He's got the real scoop. But that's weird. I don't think it's Caserio smoke. I don't think Caserio really does the smoke stuff. I think he entertains it, but I don't think he like intentionally puts out smoke screens. So I don't know what to make of what the hell Jeremy Fowler is saying, and I never do. The moment that I really open my eyes, like someone who I know, who I really, really respect in journalism, like really, really high, was like, man, he's the worst reporter there is. And I was like, really? And then you started noticing, and then shortly after that, like it was during the 2023 draft, he's like, yeah, the Carolina Panthers look like they're zeroed in on Bryce Young, but they could draft CJ Stroud. And if they don't do Stroud, they could end up taking Anthony Richardson, or they could even look into Will Levis. It's like, thanks, buddy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But I don't really know what's up. Scott says that it's not letting him super chat. It says I already own this item. I have no idea what that means. You can just ask the question. I'll answer. It's not a big deal, my friend. If you have anything to say or anything like that. Primetime V, he's been trying to get this out. I've seen this on Instagram, so I know Primetime V likes to take advantage of some deals. He says, what's everyone go-to meal for the draft? Mine will be Buffalo Wild Wings for the all-you-can-eat wings and fries for $20. That's actually not bad at Buffalo Wild Wings because they have like 100 flavors. For me, I don't know. I'll be talking the whole time. But I always have to have hell of a good dip, jalapeno kettle cooked Lay's, paste picante salsa, hint of lime Tostitos, and then I don't know. I'm going to play it by ear tomorrow. I'm thinking about, I feel like I'm probably going to get like a Jersey Mike's or something like that. Jersey Mike's have been advertising their ass off. And I've kind of become like a big Jersey Mike's fan. So that'll probably be my go-to, but I'm not 100% sure what it will be. But I'll keep an eye on that. We might hit this over. We need some points. But who knows? Herman on the soup. Shout out to Herm.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Says Banks, Hampton, Ibuka, or bust. Okay, so he's going Banks, Omarion, Ibuka, or bust. Okay. It's a good list. It's a good top four. You got to mix up the flavors of wings, though, if you're going to Wingstop. Or you said Buffalo, right? Buffalo Wild Wings, yeah. They always have like some good mix up. So yeah, you figure that out. I respect the gangster there. I remember when Hooters used to have it on Wednesday when Hooters was still popping. Man, I was there all the time. I would just be drinking beer. Six monsters later, like probably like 40 boneless fries. Sitting at the bar. Good old days. There's talk about Ted McMillan. I've heard Dallas likes him. I do wonder, like, if there's a fall, if Dallas like trades back and then maybe trades back up to get him. I don't think the Texans are impacted by a McMillan fall unless they decide to trade back, which might be a little bit more difficult with Minnesota. But I don't think they're impacted unless they're really tricking us, which is possible. How about I just do a Jeremy Fowler? I'll do it. I'll do a Jeremy Fowler. Yeah, the Texans might like Ted McMillan, or they may not. Scott says I have a receipt. Chad not showing up. All I wanted to say was it's going to be interesting with Cam Ward, Ted McMillan, and Tyler Warning all joining the AFC South next year. Yeah, the Jags might F around and take Ted McMillan and put him with Brian Thomas, which would be interesting. The Colts definitely want Tyler Warren. But yeah, the Jags are kind of a wild card there. I thought Genty was a real thing. But there's some interesting things with what Jacksonville's cooking up and what Indianapolis may be cooking up. So who knows? But the big story of the day is the number one Texans insider says they're looking to move up. So there we go. And then the problematic cluster is something else that we got. So tomorrow, probably like 8 hours of streaming, and it's the night before the draft. It's almost like Christmas. It's almost like Christmas. We got a little Christmas spirit here. Leave out the milk and cookies. Got the Rockets. Need that 204, fellas. Mop up duty. The thing that pisses me off, though, about these NBA teams is they tend to kind of like just fold at the end and just run the clock out. It's crazy. They care the least about playing, but they care the most about like classiness or something like that. Let's get it. Someone says Santa got the munchies. So Santa is on that
high-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
Okay. So there you go. Santa got the munchies. Damn, called a foul, ref. Okay. So what are we at right now? We're at 168, so we need 36. 36 and 8, 26. Yeah, we're good-ish. Good-ish. You usually want like 4 points a minute when you're doing the over. So we'll see. It looks like Jalen's done for the day. Jalen goes for 30. Warriors get banged up, and Jalen goes for 30. Kind of makes sense. Tyler Lockett, reaction on Tyler Lockett to the Titans. I mean, I think he's a good player. I think he's a solid player. I think he helps them. They're probably, I thought that maybe they would take a wide receiver at the top end of the second. Maybe this means that they don't. I know Kyle Williams and Cam Ward played together at Washington State, so maybe they just completely try to give him as many weapons as possible. But I think Tyler Lockett, if you're going to bring in a young quarterback and you're trying to provide like some sort of stability with kind of a team without an identity, like 1 minute they're rebuilding, next minute they're like going all in, then I think Tyler Lockett is the ultimate professional. I wouldn't have hated to see Tyler Lockett here. I know the Texans have done some stuff at receiver, like nothing massively significant, but yeah, the good for Tyler Lockett, good for Tennessee. But I don't think Cam Ward's worth a shit. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Cam Ward's the best quarterback in this class, but if the Texans had the number one pick and they're about to hand the keys to the franchise to Cam Ward, it's not the worst thing. Like, you don't crash and burn like you used to with number one overall picks when there was no pay scale. But I wouldn't be sitting here thinking that the Texans got him. Like, here's my question. Like, where do you think Cam Ward is going to be in 3 years compared to CJ Stroud and Trevor Lawrence? I think both of those guys will, whether they're really, really good or you kind of have questions about them, a little bit about them being elite, I think they're both going to at least be around unless Trevor Lawrence just completely wets the bed, which is always a possibility. But I don't look at Cam Ward and say, yeah, that guy's going to be awesome at all. I mean, I don't root against him. I thought Anthony Richardson was a joke, aka LaFar Jackson. But if I have the number 1 pick in the draft and Cam Ward ends up being the guy, I'm basically like, damn, man, we got the number 1 pick the wrong year. Why couldn't we have done this a year earlier? You know, like why couldn't we have had the number 1 pick when Caleb, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels were there, and we got to choose between those guys? That's what I would be saying if I was a Titans fan. I mean, you can get excited. And that's the cool thing. I'm not knocking anyone for getting excited about their quarterback. And quite frankly, I mean, a lot of these quarterbacks have surprised us. And ended up doing their thing. And it's not like there's like some massive consequence. But like from my perspective, from my POV, if my squad was drafting Cam Ward tomorrow, I wouldn't be like, hell yeah, let me get that jersey. I would be like, okay, let's see. Is the coach any good? Does he have enough around him? Is he good enough? Is this organization becoming like a massive dumpster fire? Like there's a lot of questions that emerge with the Cam Ward thing. I'm not overly impressed with Cam Ward. He might be okay. I don't think he's going to be better than Trevor Lawrence. I don't even think Trevor Lawrence is that great. So someone says that they said Cam Ward would have been QB7 last year. I don't know who they is, like a draft guy, but I mean, let's just do the math. He's at least 5. Nah, he's 6 at least. What am I missing? He would definitely be behind Caleb Williams. He would definitely be behind Drake May. He would definitely be behind Jaden Daniels. Is he behind Penix? I don't know. I don't love Penix that much. I wasn't high on Bo Nix, but Bo Nix proved himself. But yeah, he's further down. I don't think anyone's terrified of him. Andrew says hit the like button. Yes, please. Go ahead and do that. But yeah, Cam Ward, okay. Good for them. Got a little review going on in this Rockets game. We shooting 3 or not, ref? We got to shoot 3. Are they calling a flop on Fred VanVleet? Oh, yeah, he kicked it. Damn it, Fred, you weasel. Kind of is what that is, though. We're at 170, so we need 34 points. In 7. That's not great. That's not looking good. What's the highest pick you see us trading up to? 12. Dallas, we talked about that. 12 would be it. That's where I put it. But it's the night before. 'Twas the night before the draft. Went all through NRG. Was dialogue between Caserio, D'Amico, and Kaylee. The board was hung in the meeting room with care in hopes that a swarmer would soon be right there. Kaylee and Popovich were watching tape over time while visions of unselfish offensive linemen danced in their mind. Reports surfacing. Were they true or crap? They were from Diana Rossini, the #1 Texans insider. Sorry, Schefter and Rapp. Sounds like John Lopez. Please stop. That's insulting, bro. He would have wrote it, dude. I was just going off the dome. Let's see if we have any other reports. So Albert Breer on Zabel. So this is the report from Breer on Gray Zabel. He says he can start at at 4 of 5 line positions, tough and smart. He didn't say dependable. And could become a team captain. So, yeah, the report I read earlier was Breer. Said he could go as high as 12. What if, all right, what's the reaction if tomorrow, if Gray Zabel is the pick at 12 and the Texans trade all the way up to 12? So basically you traded Laramie Tunsil for Gray Zabel. How pissed are y'all? Scale of 1 to 10. 10 being pissed, 1 being excited. If they trade up for Gray Zabel, chat, how are we feeling? We pumped for that? Or not? How are we feeling about that? 10 pissed. Yeah, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? That to me is my nightmare. Like the sleep before, if my nightmare would be trade up to 12 and Gray Zabel. That would be my nightmare. I don't know what Cody might do. Cody might have to leave the stream out of excitement. Put a tie on the door. That wouldn't be fun, though. Rockets up 11 now. It's getting interesting. 171. What do we need? We need 33 points. We need 33 points in 7-16. Draymond and Jalen Green going at it. Look at that. Look at that. You better watch your nuts, Jalen. Yeah, Stutes. I think Stutes would be happy. He was unhappy with Cushing. I think he'd be happy with Gray Zabel trade up at 12. Although Stutes is kind of getting to where he's in draft mode where he wants every pick. He doesn't want to trade. He's not a big trade guy unless trade back. But if they trade for Gray Zabel, man. And then Stutes yesterday, I thought the goofiest thing he said was, well, if they trade up for the offensive lineman, there's some pressure on that kid. Who cares? What does that mean? Pressure on any offensive lineman. Because he's got to be the face of the swarm for sure. The face of that new O-line. Is Warren at 12 impossible? I don't know. I don't know when Warren's going. I feel like Indy wants him. I feel like Dallas should trade with Indianapolis if he falls to 12. If Warren falls to 12, trade there and then trade again if you want. But they want him. That's the worst kept secret in the draft. All right, now Jalen's shooting technicals. This is just turning into a disaster. And Draymond's getting chippy. And what's going to happen now is it's going to get too chippy, so they're going to stop playing. Here we go. We'll go watch this. We got a little sleep. HD AV Traveler. Let's hope Cody doesn't have a Cushing situation and crying and throwing up back in the day because he wanted Jeremy Maclin. Not that I've told that story before or anything. This white boy likes the corner 3. Yeah, we ain't hitting that over. Sucks. Anyway, all good though. It's draft day. Nothing can ruin my excitement. Super stream tomorrow. And S&L at 4 o'clock. We're going to do the final mock. So get your game faces on and get ready. We've been talking about this a lot. The downtime of the NFL offseason, it doesn't exist in this community or in this neck of the woods, but it is the slowest time. It's gone. Business is about to pick up. The draft is finally here. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. Be sure to ride along. Be sure to always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Get your sleep in because it's going to be a fun time. What the hell are the Texans going to do? They're in the news now. Who the hell knows? Hit it, Griffey.
Yeah, we top 2 and we not too plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do.